He's just.
Two-thirds of Americans are at risk to experience blackout. You could be one of them, sitting in the dark and cold for hours, for days, maybe even weeks. Are you ready to protect your family? You could be with Patriot Power Solar Generator 2000X. Folks say this new solar generator from 4 Patriots is worth its weight in gold. Why? Because this generator has double the capacity and is expandable so you can run the big appliances like your fridge even longer. Or other devices like an electric blanket, microwave, RV air conditioner, or even an electric wheelchair. You also get 12 outlets, including 4 AC outlets, so you can power more devices at once, and 2 USB-C outlets, which can charge your phone 20 times faster than a regular plug. Best of all, this new solar generator is fume-free, safe to use inside, and never needs gas, ever. Over 150,000 Americans trust Patriot Power generators. Go to 4patriots.com/VTTGW to get your solar generator now. You'll even get a solar panel included free.
Hey, what's up, trash talkers? Listen, it's impossible to fight, okay, if you don't know what you're fighting for. Does that make sense? Like, if you're in the dumps and you're struggling with mental health, things of that nature, it's going to continue tearing you down, all right? Because you're consistently trying to fight something, which is that demon, which is usually something from the past, right? Maybe that why needs to be fighting for your future. Let that be your why. Get the hell up and start fighting for your future. Stop fighting things that happened in the past. Easier said than done, right? Go seek help. It's okay not to be okay. A lot of people need to hear this. You are more of a warrior and a fighter if you stand up and say, hey, this has to stop. I need to go seek help. The stigma, everything has changed. It's okay not to be okay.
Here is a firm believer in all men are created equal, but not all men live equal. That is why there's a certain select number of people in the DoD who decided to jump out of airplanes. And yes, we are better than you. 100%. Now, don't be the first triggered pansy to say, well, airborne's not relevant. You haven't jumped since World War II. Well, that's not accurate, for one. And two, it's like having a jalopy or a 68 Mustang. Well, a 68 Mustang's no longer relevant. Doesn't matter. It's still a better car than yours. So take it easy this National Airborne Day and just accept that we are better than you.
So 2 things for today's Honesty Cap. First thing, how do all my boys from the 101st feel knowing that the Army decided that instead of actually making you airborne, they would just create a whole new division that's airborne because you just aren't cutting it? It sucks. Thing number 2, for all the folks who were like, oh, airborne is irrelevant, doesn't even matter. They're making a whole new division of just airborne people because they're relevant. Think about that. How's that feel? Does it hurt a little bit? I hope it hurts a little bit.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, and Buddy. Real warriors making fun of other real warriors. Try to not get triggered.
We are back. What's up, Gruntworks Nation? What up, VTT? Welcome to episode 148 of the Trash Talk Hour. Special guest today is Ron Breland, and today I'm joined by Buddy and Nick. Happy Saturday.
What's happening? What's going on?
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, guys? Today, guys, I'm feeling rough.
Yeah, I knew
good.
that when
Rough
you
and
were
ready, man.
When you were at the Phoenix Open, I'm like, there's no way he's gonna be ready for this show today, big softy. So
I can only do one. I'm not a pro like you are, Nick.
Yeah,
when I come and stay with you and there's golf tournaments going on, you're fucking hitting it hard Friday through freaking Monday.
Yeah, you just get an IV and you get out there. You know, like it's what it is. So
it's just like any other training. You if you stick to a regiment, you know, and you don't get sober, then you don't get hungover.
Well, I got my uncle Hank on the chat thread, and I got some of his genetics, so I appreciate that Uncle Hank. Tolerance is definitely on his side as well. So I once watched that guy drink 70 beers when I was like 7 at a 4th of July party. It was pretty impressive.
70?
Yeah.
70?
Yeah.
It's excessive, Uncle Hank. It's excessive.
Those kidneys are
and he's
working
still blessing us
overtime,
with his
man.
presence today. That's a lot to say, man.
And I think he got kicked out of an all-you-can-eat shrimp buffet too, because like, you know, the Asian guy comes out of, you eat all the shrimp, you gotta get out.
Ooh, I got kicked out of a Red Lobster once for a very similar thing.
Yeah.
Here's the Hank.
Yeah. But Hank says maybe if our government people would appreciate what you guys have been through, you've done for us, some of these problems wouldn't exist. That's true. So I think he's probably talking about your intro, Dave. 100%.
Yeah.
So and then again, we got a bunch of people watching. We got Brian checking in from the Appalachians. And then
got our sister else here, Linda. Yep.
Yeah, somebody else new.
Linda.
You got Doug Babcock coming in from Northern New York. All right. So, I mean, is there a Southern New York? I guess.
Yeah, it's just New York City.
It's just New York City. You can live on beer, but it is what it is. All right, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
Anyway, yeah, today I talked to Nick yesterday about it. I dropped it in the chat. You know, usually I pick a good conspiracy to talk about, and I guess we can tie this into a conspiracy somewhat. But it's got a lot of hype right now. And I don't know, for those of you that are watching or watch this later, if anybody's tracking the Tucker Carlson Putin interview that just occurred. There was a lot of heat when it came to that because Ukrainian government was like putting them on a kill list. I need to verify all that, all right? So I'm not sure if that's accurate. Obviously, a lot of politicians, Hillary went on and started talking about it, that he was going there. They're starting to call him a traitor, things of that nature. And then, of course, Elon Musk says he's going to put the video on X, you know, because Elon, again, fuck off. That's Elon's motto. And I love Elon Musk, and we support Elon Musk on this show for sure. So I kind of just want to talk about the interview in itself. I don't know if, you know, who's seen it. I know Nick's watched the whole thing. I know Buddy's watched a little bit of it. I have. Yeah. And just kind of do like a discussion about some of the topics on there. It was mainly geared towards the Ukrainian war, obviously, and kind of gave us the history and the background on why it all started, which was very interesting. They did talk about the pipeline that was blown up, and Putin just straight up said that it was our government that did it, the CIA.
Ain't nobody talking about that no more.
Ain't nobody talking about that. I don't know how. Are we still live right now?
Yeah. See here. Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw that discussion out there and kind of see what your guys' viewpoints are on it and what your thoughts were if you did watch it, and kind of give us your take on it. Ron, did you watch it by any chance? Yeah.
First, I want to say, Jesus is my jump master, and paratroopers are better than everyone else. I was the last airborne firefighter on jump status in the Army, and that and 50 cents will get you a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But that being said,
well, now you need $7. And
you need $7.50 to get a coffee now.
I'm not playing that game, man. I'll brew my own Folgers before I do that. I'll die on that hill.
Yeah,
but you know, I looked at it through a different lens because I was in Kosovo in 99, 2000.
So it's not a huge deal. What up, Ron? I was there.
Yeah. K4, baby.
That crossed from Macedonia into Kosovo.
That's right, man. I had fire stations at Camp Able Sentry. Camp Monteith, and I was at Camp Bonsteel with the headquarters element. It's pretty cool.
I was at Bonsteel when Bonsteel was us in Hooches, right in the middle of the trees where all the fields and stuff were.
Channel Peak was there as well. Channel, what base were you at?
What's up, Channel?
Yeah, Camp Victory.
Camp Victory. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So we got a
Yeah,
whole.
we had sea huts, but during that time, Putin had just been freely elected in Russia, and I say that
freely,
extreme air quotes. Yeah,
97% of the vote,
because everybody knew he came up to the KGB and the FSB and all that stuff, and that was his background. And now he's supposedly leading the country. And then he sends his henchman, Milosevic, over to commit all that genocide. So I look at it, because I've seen this stuff with my own eyes, I looked at that interview through a very different lens, I think, than most Americans did. And I feel like there's a lot of things he left out. But I also believe that we should really stay focused on the one thing that Tucker put out prior to, and that was, I'm not asking you to believe everything Putin says. I'm just asking you to listen to everything he says. And
it was real journalism. I mean,
it was so refreshing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And you know, the who was it? The UAE talked about putting him on a travel ban, and I mean, it was crazy. All this stuff they're talking about.
I guess I'm not going to UAE. Like,
right.
Yeah. Here's the big problem with the whole thing is that, like, it's not the interview, it's the reaction to the interview that's more telling than the interview itself.
Oh, he's so over the target, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
And
spot on.
And the other thing that's a problem is, like you just talked about, like we all just made a joke about Putin being freely elected. Anybody remember what happened to the people that ran against Putin? They all went to jail on these weird trumped up charges.
Trumped up. I see what you did there.
Awfully familiar.
I see what you did there.
And yet we're going to cast stones at him because he was ahead of his time, I guess. Like, what?
Yeah, he was putting his political opponents in jail before we started trying to do it.
Welcome back to the 90s, America.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
welcome, comrade. Yeah.
We're not far off. So like, be mad at Carlson, and here's the thing:
they were tapping his phone, buddy. They were literally tapping his phone.
Why would anyone not want to hear the other side of the story when you're going to do something, when you're headed to something as catastrophic as war with anybody? I mean, here's the thing: like, not too long ago, Tower 22 got bombed, and those 3 kids got killed. 40 people got hurt. 8 others were in critical condition. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to get to the age where I look at dead privates and dead specialists, and I don't see dead Army people. I see kids. They're fucking kids, man.
They're babies.
Fucking babies.
My son is in Romania right now with the 101st Airborne Division.
Yeah,
now. He's freezing his ass off over there. And for what?
Does he get to sit at the big kids table when he comes home because he's not airborne?
Yeah, well, maybe
he's air assault, and they think that's important there. So you got to give it to him.
What's air assault?
Yeah,
leg on a string don't mean a thing.
Miss me with the bullshit of, like, just do what the government says because we're the good guys and they're the bad guys.
Right.
I've done over 2 decades of they're the bad guys and seen that most of them aren't bad guys. They're just fucking people.
I feel like that cartoon sometimes. Are we the baddies?
What they're gonna say.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Ron.
Yeah. It's like that cartoon. That guy's like, "Are we the baddies?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, we're the new Babylon. That's what we are."
Well, Tucker talks about it. He says in our media, and Putin talks about it too, that our media is obviously controlled and what information is put out, you know. So, and Buddy said it pre-show, like, why are we fearing an interview, like if we know that there's nothing to hide, like why do we fear this? Because they don't want people to be like, oh shit.
I'll use a personal experience, because during my first sergeant time for like 3.5 years,
it's all propaganda.
I was under investigation for like 3 of it, right? So like the entire time, and every time I was like, go ask that guy whatever you want. Go talk to them. Like when I almost got fired at JRTC, I was like, go talk to my platoon sergeant. And one of my platoon sergeants hated me. So I was like, go ask them if I did that. Yeah. Right? And it's like, and I wasn't afraid for the truth to come out, because I knew what the truth was.
Yeah, because you had nothing to hide, because you did everything right.
Now, if I knew I was wrong, I'd be like, hey guys, fucking Sergeant Major coming out here.
Don't go talk to them or him. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
You 5 are going to be on detail when the sergeant major comes around. That's how that
works out. Where are they? I don't know. Geronimo got him.
I mean,
you're going to leave now.
Ron's a chaplain, so this will kind of be into his wheelhouse. But I remember going to when I was in 5th group, we had to leave one country and go to Saudi Arabia for a little bit. Well, the holster that we had was made by a company that stamped a cross, just a little cross on the holster, and we were like, shit, we can't bring these in. You can't bring those in. Nothing, no Bibles, no crosses, nothing Christian related. And it hit me. I was like, how steadfast in your religion are you if you can't hold it up to another religion and be like, see, ours is better? You know what I mean? If you have to keep people ignorant to the fact that there are other religions out there, it's the same thing.
Sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Yeah, if your ideology is so good, like and your ideology being ours, if our reason to go to war and post up Ukraine and go to war with Iran is so great,
right, then
we should be able to hear their side and still be like, I still want to punch you in the mouth because you're still an idiot. You know what I mean? Like,
but when I was in Kosovo, I had an experience with a Russian soldier. We wound up in the Russian sector. We were in a bunch of Pajeros running around, lost, lost, man. And we were this quality of life assessment team. We're going out to all these outposts, checking up on the guys who were living in like crap conditions, I mean, off a generator and a bunch of sticks and brick houses.
I was going to say they had generators.
Hey, I know. I mean, you know what? Don't be jealous. Okay, they had. That's the 82nd.
I've been on a few deployments where I've been pretty jealous of the generator.
They probably stole it. I mean, it's the 82nd. They probably stole it. I mean, they took the airfield for 2 cans of dip and got a technical out of the deal. I mean, they know what they're doing over there. But we wound up in the Russian sector, and then in 2 minutes, me and my captain are sitting there on our knees with our hands behind our back and an AK-47 behind my head. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And this is where the airborne ties into it. The guy rips my Gore-Tex open and he sees my jump wings and he goes, airborne? And I go,
you're welcome.
Yeah. And 10 minutes later, we were drinking vodka. It was freaking insane, man. It was absolutely insane. Being a paratrooper saved my ass. But these are not bad guys. It's their leadership, just like it's our leadership, just like it's always been.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rich people are going to fight the wars. The poor people are going to die in it. When has that changed in the ever in written history?
Yeah, like, well, and they don't have what they don't want is they don't want anybody to ruin their story and to ruin their narrative on why. Because here's the thing: if you could tell people that there's this monster over there that they've got to go kill, it's really easy to go over there and pull the trigger. But when you start seeing that the other side, look at World War I, when they had the Christmas armistice, and then the Germans and the British, they played soccer, they had to move whole units because they were like, no, dude, I know Klaus now. Like, we're boys. I'm not trying to shoot him anymore. Like, we're good. You guys have, and that's the thing. I mean, we ought to get to a point. Like, I'm saying we ought to go back to the days when if you got a problem with Iran, cool, Joe, take a flight over. You and the Ayatollah can go to do some combat together.
Or like the Olympics. Why don't you guys wrestle it out?
But
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned the whole story about, maybe we're not the bad guys, good guys. What got me the most on the Tucker interview was when Putin talks about like his relationship. And obviously, who knows? Putin could be lying out his ass out, but he talks about
probably
obviously, yeah. But with Clinton specifically, he talks about how like, can Russia become part of NATO? And then we were like, nope. Like Clinton in the morning said,
NATO is created for
advisors.
Russia.
Let's see if we can do that. And then in the evening, he came back and said, no. And then Tucker's like, well, why did you ask him that? Like, would you really have become part of NATO? And he was like, I wouldn't have asked him that question if I wasn't interested in doing it. And then it's like, wow. Like, he was kind of playing to like, obviously, I'm the poor guy. My country is poor. We want, I'm not saying it really occurred, but if that did occur, it doesn't paint him out to be as bad as he really is.
I caught him in two lies during the interview.
Yeah.
I caught him in two lies just personally off my own experience. Now, there's other guys, I'm sure some of you guys probably, with your own experiences could have been like, well, that's BS because I was in country at this point and these troops were being leveraged against this point in Europe. And that's not how it really worked out. So, the victor always writes the history book. So, you have to keep that in mind too, as well as, that's part of the PSYOP, like Buddy was talking about. They have to create a boogeyman, right? They have to create this beast, the big baddie out there that now you have to be the right, and they have to make you think you're the righteous one,
Right.
And
of course.
When I was in Ramadi in 0304, when I was in Mogadishu in 93, we thought, man, we're going to go save these babies. We're going to feed them. Everybody I know has a mother who told them, clean your plate because there's starving babies in Africa. Well, guess what? There really are. And when I was at Fort Campbell, I was the only firefighter that went because I volunteered. They said they needed drivers. I'm like, well, I can drive a Humvee, I can drive a fire truck, or either vice versa. And it turned into not being that. And it turned into, you definitely see who the bad guys are and you definitely see who the good guys are. There's a clear, distinctive line and there's no mistaking it. And you guys can tell, you go to these different countries and you see there are truly good people and they don't want anything 100%. To do with war. They don't want anything
We've
to do
talked
with
about that so many. Yeah, we've talked about that so many times, especially in Iraq. I saw it. It really pissed me off when we had soldiers in the platoon that were treating like the Iraqi locals like shit and like fucking with them because they're the same locals that are going to blow you the fuck up the next day because you pissed them off.
But then again, we also stopped them. We also stopped them.
Yeah, we always did. Like I hated that shit.
Slapped them around and said, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
We broke bread with some of them. It's not their fault, but that's a whole nother discussion in itself. But super frustrating.
So like, I'm gonna, say somebody commenting here. You got George from the Vet Radio Syndicate. If you guys don't follow Vet Radio Syndicate, go do it. Right? It's a really cool page, and they have a lot of good shows on there. But he says the victor doesn't always write the history; the perception writes it. Now, there's a lot of truth to that. So history is, let's say, an event is a factual event that happens, and then it's the perception of why or who or what, right? The perception writes the story. So if you happen to be, so they're both right. So if you happen to be the one in charge of writing that perception, like i.e. the school board, right? Like you're the victor. You're writing the perception that everybody's going to learn. But Dave, this conversation reminds me a lot of the actual, old Charlie 2505, like that company, the second platoon office that we're talking about. I'm like, now that everybody's starting to care a little bit because of this interview, right? And maybe they get a little snapshot of the history of Russia, Ukraine, right? And now all of a sudden you got, again, we always talk about, we got these experts now that they know everything about it. And we keep trying to tell people about, like, if you don't have any, sweat in the game, that doesn't mean you just sit back and take it. But, like, think about it before you start picking a side, because, like Buddy said, these are kids dying, and there's kids dying on both sides. Right?
Yeah, there are.
And Putin says this, right? Putin goes, like, when we talk about pre-show, like, why would I call Biden? He's like, what do you want to talk? What do you want me to talk about? He's like, hey, you're going to send more weapons over to kill Russians. right? And you're going to send the best. You know, he even says this. I don't care. Send them all. He goes, you think we're going to stop? He's like, if you'd stop sending weapons, this war would be over in 2 weeks, right? Now that doesn't make Putin. It doesn't make Putin right. It doesn't make America right. But again, it's war, and the war machine that's turned into it. And anybody wants to turn a blind eye to this, go for it, man. Live in your ignorance is bliss type of style. War is a money. War is a money maker, no matter where you go. All right. So as soon as we leave Afghanistan, right, Halliburton, all their shit stocks go like this, and then all of a sudden, freaking 2 months later, Ukraine, bam, stocks go right back up.
Hey, where did Halliburton start making a lot of money?
Iraq.
And who owned and who bailed them out? Well, they got bailed out by Lyndon Johnson back in the 40s, and then they started making a shit ton of money in when they ran supplies to Vietnam. Guess who owned a pretty good percentage of Halliburton? Lyndon Johnson and his wife, and they continued that. Oh, that Texas company. How many presidents since then have come from Texas?
Exactly. And then you also talk about the media. And so you got, if anybody listening actually wants
this
to go
show's not going to get this show's going to get taken down on
anybody
YouTube.
Who wants to go research relative history, i.e. the Vietnam War, like Buddy just brought up. All right, that was the first time where we were actually able to see censorship, right, to where the government was actually controlling the media. So it's a two-pronged thing. Major news corporations are for profit. Okay, so they have to make money for their shareholders.
Views and everything.
If you're not reporting on what's hot, then you ain't making any money. So in the 60s, late 60s, and then the early 70s, the hotness was Vietnam. All right. The federal government would take away your press pass if you did not report exactly what they told you to report. Right. So right there was your first actual censorship. That's not a conspiracy. It's like, no, you want to report in Vietnam? This is what you're going to say. Otherwise, you're not getting a press pass. All right. So kind of getting topic a little bit, but not much.
Impose conditions on,
My take on it with the interview, and it's the same as like you guys said, like Buddy said, it's very telling, is if you don't want this interview, why not? If you don't want to listen to it, why not? Nobody's saying you have to agree with it. Nobody's saying, just like Tucker said, nobody's saying it. This is the same.
Why are you going so hard the other way? I mean, you're not just opposing it. You're vehemently opposing it, calling this guy a Russian asset and every other darn thing in the book. And then 2 days before you weren't saying that. You've never said it in your life. But you're saying it now?
When at the end of the day, the entire interview gives you an opportunity to make Putin look like an idiot for proving whatever he's saying that you don't agree with wrong.
Right. And then this, like, to lighten it up a little bit, this reminds me of the golf argument when that Live Tour started, and everybody's like, oh, LIV is funded by Saudi Arabia. Oh, that's blood money. And again, when have we not done something that has blood on it? When have we not sent money somewhere so that other people could die? Who we throwing stones at here?
We don't do that. America. We don't do that.
Now, I will turn this back to the veteran thing, right? And I will turn this back to your point, Dave, about, there is an exception to America because of how diverse we are. There is an exception to the amount of people that are in the Army and where they're from and how educated our country actually is. So, like when we do deploy, right, they can tell us all they want that the boogeyman is, these people in Samara, Iraq. Right. But we quickly found out, and we're educated. So we quickly found out that most of these people here have no fucking idea what's going on. Right. All right. Most of these people here are not bad people. Yeah. Right. They're like, oh, well, shit, I guess these are our new masters because they're uneducated. Right. They can't even read. Well, I guess this is
lack of education
now. I guess this is what we're doing.
Talk about suppressing things, right? Like education.
Education or whatever. Like it's just are you not wanting people to know? Now, I will say you can make a big boogeyman out of Al-Qaeda. You can make a big boogeyman out of certain terrorist organizations to where it's like, yes, we should kill them.
Tracking.
Like we should kill all of them.
For sure.
That is that like
who
that,
created Al Qaeda? Who created
To the last
Al-Qaeda?
one, yes.
It's fuck, man.
We
could
created
go
the
on
Taliban.
about
Yeah. So we didn't necessarily create them. We just gave them guns.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and trained
We've,
them. Trained
we've
them a little bit,
educated
to fight the Russians.
Yeah.
We've educated some of the world's most horrifying terrorists too. They've been to Command General Staff College, all these schools.
Yep. But yeah,
it's like ISIS. I mean, if we wouldn't have taken Saddam out of power, ISIS probably would have never been a thing. You know, Saddam was a horrible person, but that dude ruled with an iron fist, and he would have not let something like ISIS take over the Middle East like they did for a while there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
so that goes back to history, and actually, like Texas and Missouri again. Like, I'm not Missouri, Louisiana. Like when Saddam was gassing the Kurds, right? The word genocide got thrown out, which is a big word, right? You throw that out, that means that the UN has to act, right? So if we rule it as genocide, we have to act. Well, we ruled it as ethnic cleansing because there was 2 states that had a $500 million grain credit with Iraq. So if we declared genocide on them, they couldn't trade with them, right? So it was ethnic cleansing, all right? And that was under Clinton,
mess, man.
Like, it's just like
it's a fucking mess.
So again, do we have blood money? We got blood money. Like we got a lot of blood money. So,
well, here's the thing: there are again, just like there are good people and bad people in all these countries, there are good people and bad people in our own country.
Yes,
now
in our own army.
Where we like, I didn't make any money off of it, like, but
a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
you got a paycheck, and
okay.
Can you get retirement now?
Those bonuses
off of the decisions to go there, and to be honest, I can legitimately look back at my entire career and not feel bad for a single trigger pull that I made. Nope. I 100%. I don't feel bad about. I never went out and fucking like tried to fucking pick a fight. I never like. If you got shot by me or people that were around me, it's because you started shooting first, homie, and we're just better shots.
Dude, how
you
funny
deserve
was that?
to get shot.
Hey,
that's right.
We were going in like houses, like we'd cordon off an IED, and we go get in houses, and people would start talking to us with our interpreter, and so I'm like, "Hey guys, I want you to tell all your neighbors, like, dude, when you see us walking around, if you don't shoot at us, we're just gonna walk around, all right? And then we're gonna walk back to that base." I go, "But the minute you fuck with us, like,
we're gonna shoot a lot of stuff.
You got a lot of shit coming your way." Like, so, like, just
want to put some Mark 19 rounds in your living room. That's right.
Yeah. Don't poke the bear.
I would whole lots rather do this patrol, go back and play Guitar Hero or lift some weights, than do this patrol and halfway through it have to scare us both.
Yes. Right. And now this patrol is 6 hours long, and I'm really tired now, and I'm really pissed off. Right? I'm sweating. Like, it's not good. But,
and my machine gunner really has a heavy load that he wants to get rid of. So, you know, don't give him a reason.
Shout out to Rivera. Shout out to Rivera.
God bless the machine gunners. Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, that's a good conversation. This one could probably go for 5 hours. 5 or 6 hours. And again, for those people that want to watch history, just read about it. All right. And again, like George said from Veteran Radio Syndicate, your perception doesn't make it right, but at least you're reading about it. And if you give out your perception, you might get someone else's perception. And now it's called a conversation, right? And now it's like we actually might learn something if you're open-minded.
Glenn, real quick, Glenn, before we get to Glenn, who is a Russian asset? Are you saying Tucker is a Russian?
This guy trolling you, bro.
Here we go.
Get ready for it. Get ready for it. So, and then Carl McKee Wortman, why are we still paying taxes while not in war? Well, actually, with 2 full wars going on, the defense budget was still only 33% of the GDP. So we still got to fund other stuff. It just is what it is.
I just put out a video yesterday about, it's called Ron's Rants, first episode of it, about the war coffers being emptied. And if we put the Ukraine level money into the warfighter community, we wouldn't have homeless vets. Just a thought, you know. I kind of went off yesterday on that, but
yeah. And again, those are we've said it before on the show. Those are digits in the computer that we send to Ukraine, right? Yeah. Then those digits in that computer come right back to ours. Like it's just like there's no money, right? That money's another big conspiracy. There's no money. It's a zero and a computer. like whatever. But buddy, let's get to your honesty cap, man. I've been waiting for like 6 weeks for one of your honesty.
You didn't say you wanted a fucking honesty cap, my man. You said entertain us. Are you not entertained?
Not yet. Not from you. Not from you yet. Not from you yet. Not from you yet.
So you know what? It's funny. The honesty cap for today kind of goes to what the new For Patriot freaking ad that you
wait to hear the next. Wait to hear the one at the end of the show.
What's super funny is I didn't even know that ad had changed from the food to the little solar generator thing.
Yeah.
But I've been hearing a bunch of people talk about this new the sun goes in cycles, and we're in a cycle where there's about to be some giant, basically solar flares and EMPs. It's going to take out all of the digital and like everything digital in the in the world. And they were like, within I think they said 9 months to a year, 90%
us back to the Stone Age.
90% of the U.S. population will die in a year.
90%?
90%. 90.
It'll definitely kill off a bunch of people pretty fucking quick. Not 90%.
You mean food doesn't just show up?
I would say that
100%
of that statistic made up. That being said, the one I've heard, 90% of Americans will be dead within a year because of not having anything digital, no currency, no electricity,
no Facebook, no Instagram.
All right. Honesty cap fully on. Two things. Thing number one, like there are a lot of people that talk about manifesting things. Like if you really think about something, or if enough people pray, or enough people like think about a certain thing, you can manifest that thing to happen. Wouldn't it be crazy if we put things out on social media so people started believing them, and then we manifested that bullshit to happen? Conspiracy. I don't know. Maybe I had too many of the gummy bears the other day, but still, the second thing is that honesty cap fully on. It's only been about 100 years since we even had fucking electricity in everybody's houses. Like, what are we talking? 90% of America's gonna fucking die in a year. That's not a thing. It's not a fucking thing. Basically, that is the YouTube TikTok equivalent of the old Louis C.K. joke where he was talking about people getting pissed off because they had just found out that there was Wi-Fi on their plane. And then 5 minutes later, they were like, the Wi-Fi went out. They're like, oh, Jesus. Like, we've literally only had electricity for 5 minutes. If it gets cut off tomorrow, will it suck? Yeah, you're not going to be able to watch like fucking trading houses or flipping spouses or whatever you watch on an airplane at 30,000 feet. Yeah, you're not going to be able to watch that. But will we die? Are you going to die? No, you're not going to die. You're going to get your 4 Patriots generator. Shameless plug. You're gonna go out.
I can do a plug that's not shameless.
You know what's gonna happen from experience? You know what's gonna happen when you don't have electricity? You're gonna get a good night's sleep. That's what's gonna happen.
You're gonna probably be a lot stressed out too. A lot less stressed out.
Bullshitting around. You're gonna build a fire at about 5 o'clock. You're gonna sit around that fire until it goes out, kinda, and you're gonna pass out and go to sleep till the next morning. Then you're gonna wake up. And somebody's going to tap somebody else and be like, hey, go outside and see if it's cold. I got to pee, but I don't know if I want to pee bad enough to go. That's what's going to happen. You're not going to fucking die. Calm down. Stop manifesting this bullshit. You're not going to fucking die. You're going to be fine. It's going to be okay. You're going to get a good night's sleep. You're going to get a solid 12. That's what's going to happen. You're going to get a solid 12 hours. And then you're going to go out and you're going to plant some shrubs or something you can eat. And then you're going to
you might even start getting up at the crack of dawn because there's your light.
Yeah, you know what? You're going to start feeling a lot better because you're going to be out doing some actual work. You're going to be a lot less frustrated because you're not going to be looking at TikTok. By God, maybe we need a solar flare too. Maybe. I'm just saying.
I like it. I like it. But
Easiest one to manifest.
Here's a plug for 4 Patriots. That's not shameless. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, not this coming Monday, but the next Monday, we're going to have a show with 4 Patriots. All right. And they're going to explain kind of exactly what Buddy's talking about we're not trying to go after the people that think the whole world's going to end. He's like, well, that's not who we want our customer clientele to be. We want our customer clientele to be the people that just want to be prepared in the event there's a flood in your neighborhood. Right?
Yeah.
If there's a flood in your neighborhood,
disaster. Yeah.
and you have a generator and you have some food, all right, one you can eat, but guess what? You can help others.
For a price. They're going to be a cover price to the Beckwith residents. If I got 4 Patriots,
I will argue with you, buddy. If we're talking about major cities, like Dave said, all right, and there are solar flares, you are going to have people dying. You are going to have people dying, right? Like in New York, right, or LA, because there's people dying there now when there's electricity. They're killing each other anyways. Like, so it's like if there's actual
get real ugly
panic, if there's actual panic in those cities with those fucking morons, like like,
you know why there will be panic?
Because there's no electricity or food.
Because they're like, oh my God, I can't power the 5 TVs I have in my house.
And then how come the food didn't show up like it always does in the supermarket?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why can't I get fucking Uber Eats anymore?
Like, I thought it just poof. Like, there
are going to be people, I swear to God, there will be people that will like, well, I can't eat that because it looks too much like an animal. Because it's an animal. That's why it looks that way. Because 10 minutes ago, it was scurrying around, making little Disney faces with its little whisker face, and then I back it, I killed it, and now they ain't got no skin, and now we're eating.
Yeah, took the guts out.
There's going to be a lot of betas at the grocery store wondering why the meat store is empty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we
They're
saw
just
that.
going to be sitting there wondering.
Look what we did with toilet paper. Right, like I say, you're gonna have some wackos out there. It's coming. Like and then and Carl's right on. That's like I said. That's not a shameless plug for 4 Patriots. You know, piss poor planning is piss poor results. Right? Like you don't have to be a prepper, right? But having a month's supply of food isn't a bad idea for a normal person, right? Like it's just like, oh well. And if you know how to hunt and you're off the grid a little bit, you might not need a month's supply of food because you just go get yours. Like it's like,
but you're still gonna want a month's supply of like salt, pepper.
Sure.
You know, here's the thing: you can live off of venison. You can.
Yeah, backstrap's delicious.
A whole lot better if it's got a little salt on there.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's a little different.
Yeah. But hey, all right, that is a great honesty cap, right? Because it's kind of honest, right? And it was entertaining. So I did feel entertained, buddy. I appreciate that.
I'm glad I was here for you guys.
And then
definitely
we have to scroll back up. Buddy. But old Paris, big biceps Paris, who got shot in the arm and the neck. He says, I can't wait to get in touch with you guys on Tuesday. Oh, by the way, buddy, Tuesday we're partying.
Touching me on Tuesday. I'm not
Tuesday. No, you and me and him are partying. It's happening.
Oh, yeah, I know. So, he already said he's coming down.
We're gonna be down there. All right, we're gonna be in Kentucky. All right. Well, I get the distinct pleasure to introduce Ron Breland to the dumpster fire, which he's already been fully engulfed in it. And if you've noticed, one of the 3 people, and where's Jeremy Daniels at? Okay, like you were commenting on Facebook, and that's bad. All right, you're one of our YouTube watchers. Get your ass back on YouTube and watch it on there. And that being said, anybody watching, go to YouTube. Dave's posted this, but if you don't, go to YouTube, all right, and like, subscribe, all right, follow, all right, YouTuber Shadowban, because we talk about shit like this, which is, nobody took a sign on anything today. We just talked about what's going on, right? Like, sorry, YouTube, sorry, right? Like, it is what it is, but go follow, like us, subscribe. Anyways, Ron Breland, he is one of the 3 or 4 YouTube watchers that we have. And, he commented on there. He's Isaiah 6'8" actual, all right? So he reached out to us and says that not only is he an author, an Army veteran, all that kind of stuff, an author, and also him and his wife, correct me if I'm wrong, run a nonprofit, right? Yep. And so we get to hear all about that. And anybody watching for the first time, thank you. And then if you're on VTT official, I'm the big girl. I'm the one that tags everybody, and you all get fucking triggered about it. But our entire mission is to promote veteran-owned businesses and veteran causes, and anything we can do to help our veteran first responder brothers and sisters. All right. So if you don't like that, and you do not like getting tagged, all right, in our shows.
And you can kindly see your way out of the group.
It is an open door both ways. Like, fucking go.
Yep.
Like, so.
And you don't need to announce it when you leave either.
Yeah,
we're good.
And I'm going to bring up one thing because I did get triggered today. I'm going to bring up one thing before I turn it over to Ron. All right, there's a guy on Big Earl's page right now that is telling me I shouldn't have said something on my own page. Hey, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Freedom of speech.
Hold on. What should you not have said?
So
things that
there are a lot of times I say things I shouldn't say, and if it's in public,
sure.
I say sorry. But when you're on my page, which is a private page, right? You have elected to come listen to me, right? So you can leave anytime you want. No, but it's about USA and how they screwed up everything for my insurance for my car. They're in a class action lawsuit in California. We'll talk about that next week. All right, I'll do that during the Book of Earl. But anyways, Ron is here. Ron was in the Army for like 47 years, and somehow he got to be airborne. He dispatched some Humvees in Somalia, or he said he dispatched somebody in Somalia. I don't know. We always thought a dispatch was how you signed Humvees out of the motor pool. But we'll let him get into that. But Ron, welcome to the Dumpster Fire. Tell us what you got going on.
Thanks, guys. Well, my wife and I live here with we have 2 of our 5 children that still live with us. One's in college, our youngest, and our baby and only girl who was born up at Fort Wainwright, and our son, Kevin, who's autistic. He's 30, and he's high functioning. I mean, he works, drives, the whole 9. But it's an interesting combination because once you have your kids in the military when they're babies, and you see them, and you kind of always see them as babies, and then now they're like, hey, you want something from the grocery store, and you're like, holy cow, when did that happen? But it's neat to see all that come full circle now. But my wife and I we run a nonprofit called Warfighter Ranch. And we believe everybody's a spiritual warfighter because we're all in a spiritual battle, whether you believe it or not. We're in it. One of the worst battles to be in is the one you don't know you're in. Because, I heard Faceman talking about it in the intro there about you keep getting pounded by these demons and you don't know why. Well, there's a reason. And we go through those reasons. And we host combat trauma healing groups. The last one we had a guy from he was a Quezon survivor. We had an Apache pilot who fell out of the sky twice. A couple of Marines, an SF guy from Vietnam. I mean, it's just all it's the whole gamut of our community because this is our family. This is what we do. If a police department or a fire department or a National Guard unit is maybe they're on mission or their lunch is at 2 a.m, then we go to them at 2 a.m. because, I'm retired. What am I going to do? There's people that need too much help out there. And what I've found is that in the follow-on professions, warfighters are servants. First and foremost, it's in their heart. That's why they do what they do. And when they leave the service, that doesn't change. And you'll see a huge crossover into the first responder communities from the veteran community, all branches. They all go, tons of them go to police, fire, EMS, work in the hospitals. So there's a lot of crossover there because I was a firefighter in the Army. And like I said, my first duty station was Fort Campbell. And man, I got sucked in with that sign at reception, man. It said rendezvous with destiny. And I was like, oh, just hooked me hard, man. We went through, I got a divorce, a trip to Fort Campbell, trip to Fort Bragg. I mean, pretty much the Bro Vets Army tour that I had there. I got one of everything.
Bro Vets are like tankers, all right? Like paratroopers are bro vets, all right? Like paratroopers.
Dude, I lost a wife. I lost a wife and gained a wife at Fort Bragg. Okay, same tour. I'm just saying. Yeah, that bray was tight, baby. I'm just saying. But you know, our whole mission in life, man, is to serve our community. And you know what? Jesus sat with sinners, and guess what our people are? We all are. But we're some of the most humble and heartwarming sinners you'll ever meet in your life, because they're the ones, and I tell people all the time, they're the only ones who are willing to lay it down for you. So don't take it for granted. And I don't take any smack for it either. And I don't apologize. I told Earl the other day, you're never going to meet a chaplain like me, because, you know, I tell people all the time, I'll introduce you to the Lord one way or the other. You know, so take that as you will. All right, you know.
For sure. Hey, talk about yeah, go ahead. Sorry, keep going.
The fact is that I have, and for years, you know, I didn't have any help or anything. Nobody told me about that. I did. I killed a couple of kids in Somalia, and when that happened, you know, psychologically, you go through a lot when that happens. There's children. Children have guns. The guns are going to kill you just the same as if it was an adult holding it. And you're going through all this at warp speed, and at some point you break. There's a break there. And I've met so many people, so many veterans, mostly Army special operations guys. But, hey man, I killed the kid, and I can't reconcile this. It's driving me batshit crazy my whole life. I'm banging my head against the wall. I've become an alcoholic. I've lost 3 marriages. My kids don't know who I am. Hey, bro, been there. But there's a way out of that. There really is. And it takes work. And it's not hard. You know what? If you can go to war, you can do this.
Yeah.
But you have to look in the mirror. And that is quite often, that's the hardest battle we face.
That's the hardest thing. Yep.
As men, anyway. As men. Because we're prideful bastards. We really are. We'll look in the mirror and lie to ourselves just to feel better. And at some point, you have to realize, number one, you need to be honest with yourself. Number two, we need to give up those sacred cows that we have in our lives. Those things that, you know, maybe Meemaw told you a story from 2 generations ago that you just kind of believed. And we were talking about this earlier with the media. You know, do your own research now. It's all
our internal programming. It's our internal programming. Yep.
Exactly. And you have to work hard to change that, because the generations before us, God bless them, they didn't know as much as we do. Maybe things, but certain things have changed, advanced. Maybe we know a little bit more now about medicine or something, or maybe we're not just going to, my grandma, you know, used to think if you drank a Coke, it cured cancer. Okay, well, we don't do that anymore because the shit doesn't work. It just doesn't. So we have to be honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
Do that. They do. Yeah. It's crazy. I'm like, where did that even come from? I mean, does that come from the Little House on the Prairie or something? What kind of crap is that? But
it's science.
We believed it. You know,
it's not true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but you have to be. It's like that. The interview. Well, you know, it's like the guy in my psych class in college. He said, if you rub dog shit on your arm and wrap it in newspaper for 3 days, and then you unwrap it and there's no poison ivy left, was it the shit? Did the shit work, or was it just go away on its own? You don't even know. But it's like the conversation earlier about whether it's the media or whether it's your perceptions on things. Do the work, but be honest and do the work. And if someone's not being honest with you, then you need to go. Jesus says, shake the dust off and go somewhere else. Tell them and then tell them again. You can only tell people so much or so many times. Our program's a little different. When we eventually get the ranch, we don't have the ranch yet. We're looking to have it in Prescott, Arizona, because it's a temperate area and we can run it year round. And it's close enough to it's a beautiful VA facility up there. Probably you won't hear me talking good about the VA a lot, but you will when it comes to Prescott. And it's close enough to that, but it's not It's far enough away from everything else to where you don't even know you're in civilization. There's a lot of country area out there, a lot of greenery. And we want to get warfighters away from everything. We're not going to have. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring you in for 3 weeks. Well, you'll be there for a month total. But the first 3 weeks is you, me, and a small team. Small team tactics. They've always worked. They always have since the beginning of ever. And they're not going to stop here because that's what we work with. That's what we've always worked with in the military. That's what we work well together with. So that's what we're going to stick with. And we found that these small groups working together get very intimate very quickly. And what you'll have is no media, no electronics, no news, none of that shit for 30 days. No cell phone, no, nothing. It's a complete detox from all that crap. And then it's not like I'm going to sit here and beat you over the head with my Bible. It's, hey, what's your issues, bro? Hey, well, I'm a recovering alcoholic, because you can't come to the program as an alcoholic or actively using drugs, because you need clarity of mind when you're thinking about your soul and eternity. We have to have absolute clarity. So if you've got those issues, they have to be dealt with before they come to the ranch. But everybody's welcome to the ranch. You don't have to be a Christian to come to the ranch. We're not about a religion. There's no religion here at all. I freaking hate religion. Jesus hated religion, so I'm a good company. We're about faith. Father, Son, Holy Spirit in the Bible. That's it. Period. And if anybody else tries to bring anything in, we shut them down quick, because anything else is man-made, and I'm not interested, because I've already experienced all that, and they've already failed me. Feel me? So that's where we're coming from. And then in that last, so we're going to teach the male warfighters, and we have to distinguish it biblically. So we'll have the male separate from the female classes. If you're in the male class, you'll never see a female until the 4th week, when your wife shows up, because we're going to fly your wife and kids out. Now, my wife is simultaneously working with her team and the wives to show them what a Proverbs 31 woman should look like. Because if you ask 100 women, what is a woman? Well, isn't that the question of the last couple of years? If you ask 100 women, what is a real woman to you? You're going to get 100 different answers. Same thing with a man. What's a man to you? My dad, my special forces uncle, my Navy SEAL dad, whatever. You're going to get 100 different answers. Well, what does the Bible say a man should be? What does the Bible say a man should act? And it's all there for our good. It's all there for our success. It's all there. It's the op order that nobody reads. And the answers are all there. Now, is it hard to discern? Sometimes, sure. But I tell people all the time, the bravest thing I ever did wasn't anywhere near a combat zone. It was picking up this book right here. Because I thought when I picked it up, I was going to be accountable for what was inside of it. And guess what? Newsflash, Ron, you're born in this day and age, you already are. You already are. You call yourself a Christian, well, it's time to put up or shut up. Because you can't just say, oh, I'm a Christian, and then never live the life, or never read the book, or never read the instruction manual. So that 4th week, we're going to fly the wife and kids in, reintroduce them to their new biblical husband and wife. And I guarantee you, we won't have an 80% divorce rate. I can guarantee you we won't have veterans wanting to commit suicide. And it's just not part of the equation at that point, because detox is everything out of it. And it's not snake oil, and it's not DA doctrine or some reg or, AR or something. It's just truth. It's just legit. And I've seen too many guys work with it. I've worked with guys from all branches. I've seen some of the most badass cock-swinging commandos in the world out there brought to their knees over a single verse out of this book. And well, there goes my light.
There you go.
That's the word.
Ron getting pumped up. Hey,
that's the Lord intervening over here. The Lord's getting involved now.
I think that's referred to as a halo, Ron. That's a halo, Ron. That's what that is.
Oh, yeah.
No. Hey, yeah, Ron. For the audience too, because one of the things that like I hear you. I understand what you're saying. One of the things that we avoid at Veteran Trash Talk is the topic of religion. Now, and we've discussed it. We've discussed it 100 times on the difference between being spiritual and then being religious, right? So, like, because the issue is I know for a fact that what you just said, the people that listening to it, like, they probably were all about what you were saying until you said like a biblical husband or like a biblical wife, right? Mm-hmm. And here's why. Because it's gonna hit one of their internal biases. It's gonna hit one of their internal programming, right? That, again, I'm just saying this is the reason why we stay away from it on the page, right? We just stay away from it. What I'm gonna get at here is the same thing I say during the holidays is don't destroy somebody's faith. All right. Feel free to destroy their religion, but don't destroy their faith. Right. And what is making them try to get rid of something that's evil in their life, right? So if it is something that is hurting you, right, and you find it in, a scripture from, the Dead Sea Scrolls, or you find it in scripture from Buddha, or you find it in scripture from wherever, and it's making you, look into the mirror and try to be somebody better, right? Then we're all about it. Like, we will support everything about it.
If it serves you.
Yes.
In a positive manner. Yeah.
Here's the distinction with that, guys. Those things are in fact religions. That's not faith. Those are specific different religions. So if I say something and it triggers a Buddhist, I'm going to have to go with what your T-shirt says. Don't be a triggered pansy.
Right.
Scroll on if you don't like it. But if you want to hear what I have to say now and then come to me with a private conversation later, I'm all about that. Or if you want to say, hey, man, I liked what you had to say. Can we do an online group with my motorcycle club? Because I think we could really use it. Yeah, let's do that. That's what we do. So this is just putting the word out there. This is just what we do, And at the end of the day, I don't answer to Buddha. I don't answer to any of the other religious personas out there. I answer to my God.
And again, nobody's arguing that. Nobody's arguing that. We're talking about what the just making sure that the people listening, that, again, if you don't want something like this, then, like you said, don't be a triggered pansy about it. This just might not be the nonprofit for you, right? And
or if you want to have a conversation about it, because we repel religion from Warfighter Ranch.
That's right, but then again, you're gonna have a very simple argument that's not gonna it's gonna go in circles.
Right.
That says, once you say, well, I'm a Christian, that's a religion. Okay, so again, if it is, it 100% is, right?
Yeah.
It's whether, because there's lots of writings and lots of scriptures and lots of different religions that are very, very similar, right? Because they just kind of maybe got lost in, by a brother, right? So
there's books, but there's only one book that's scripture, but that's a different. That's semantics. Yeah,
I'm just throwing it out there for like I said, because we do have a very large audience, right? And so it's like, again, how close are you guys to actually getting the ranch? And what do you need? Like, have you guys set up the actual 501c where you can take donations yet?
Oh yeah. We've had our 501c3.
So talk about that to how people who do want to support this method of therapy, which, again, nothing wrong with it. Just we were just talking about how it might not be for everybody, but how, if somebody was going to support it, how do they go support it, and how close are you to actually getting the ranch?
Well, we're not close to getting the ranch. Since 2020, that really slowed everything down, because we were we moved everything to online. So all of our combat trauma healing group, we have a first responders trauma healing group. That's the cool thing about being a firefighter in the military, is when you leave, you get to cross these different, I want to call it a Venn diagram of dysfunction. It's like, you got like the Army one over here, and you get the fire one over here, and you got the post-traumatic one over here, and you throw it all together, and there's kind of an alphabet soup of sorts, but it also puts you in a very unique position to reach a unique pockets of people. And those pockets of people are really in need. You know what I mean? That guy who's sitting on the couch right now who says, maybe that book's not so heavy now. If that guy can do it, he had a pistol in his mouth. I mean, at one point, I talked about this earlier. I know this was part of the big motivation to get the ranch. This is part of my wife. She prayed on it forever. And she woke up at 2:30 in the morning one day and said, Ron, get me a notebook. And, I'm on my sleep meds. I need a rhino trank to put me out at night, because I just get up all night at 3-4 times a night with sleepwalking. And I'm a sleep snacker, man. I'm guilty as all get out. There's crumbs on. You can tell where I've been in the morning. Okay. You can tell where I've been. But I got her this notebook, and she spent about 5 hours detailing out like an op order on what Warfighter Ranch was, down to what it looked like, down to what the buildings were going to be structured like. And I'm like, where are you getting this? And she goes, this is what I was told to do. So that's where we've been ever since. And we established a nonprofit. The big event that it culminated in after 25 years in a very dark place, I was in my garage. I had a .357 revolver in my mouth. I had my thumb on the trigger. My wife was outside the man door of my garage, and my daughter was outside the rolled door, the garage door on the outside. And they were both there, and they knew I wasn't going to do anything with them there. So they both stayed there with me for 3 days. They did not leave me. I mean, there's a utility sink in the garage, and I'm pretty sure that's where they went to the bathroom. I mean, I don't know how. Wow. I don't know how much more you can love somebody. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when my wife says, I've been told to do this, and I'm going to do it, you believe it. And when it comes on so strong, I'm not talking about having some weird dream or having some, I mean, this is.
Well, there's a lot to dream.
There's a lot to this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Earl.
Well, I said there's a lot to dreams. There's a lot to it,
there's tons.
Call it whatever you want to call it. Call it whatever faith you want to call it. There's a lot to dreams that comes. I
think you're talking about the difference between just something that you want to do and a calling. You know what I mean? You can find a lot more passion in a calling than you can in,
there's hobbies, and then there's vocations, and
yeah.
But then even beyond that, and you guys all know this, we all know this, we all enlisted, we've all been to war. There's a hobby, there's a calling, and then there's like destiny. You know what I mean? There's like, this is going to happen. Like you go into this fight and you're like, can't lose. We are going to totally smoke this fight. There's no way we can lose this. And you go in and you smoke them all, and that's it. And you're like, and you're not cocky about it. You're very confident. It's like, you just know, and ever since then, we've had people come out of the woodwork. I don't know. You call something a ranch with the end of it in the title, and everybody wants to throw horses at you. Everybody who's got old dying horses wants to give you their horses all of a sudden. And those things are ridiculously expensive to maintain, and the equine meds and all that stuff. But that's not what we're going to do. Warfighter Ranch is going to be a ghost town most of the time when we do have it, because we're going to bring in other nonprofits. That's who we are. We're the nonprofit that isn't afraid to work with others, because you have things in your toolbox that we don't have, and we have things in our toolbox that they don't have. And by golly, if we work together, then we might be able to just accomplish something here. So say we throw them a donation, and for a couple of days they bring their horses in and work with our guys for a little block of it, a few days for the month, and then we bring in a scuba guy. I got a guy with Team Rubicon who's willing to dig me a lake so that we can have diving and fishing and kayaking on the ranch as part of other modalities to use. And I mean, where's all these people come from? I mean, where all these great ideas come from? It didn't come from me. It just started with my wife, and now things are flying at us. Yeah. But what's not flying at us is money. And we all know this thing takes, but we also know a ranch, things like this is going to take God level money. Okay. This is going to have to take some kind of windfall or some kind of angel donor or somebody that says, wow, I've been waiting my whole life to hear this. My son committed suicide. I want to back this. And we would definitely do something like that, because now I'm not saying it has to be in Prescott. I mean, we've talked about Texas because it seems to be the extremely free state of Texas lately.
It's the greatest country in the world.
That's what they say, right?
In the world. Yep.
What, well, one or two, only one of you is in Texas, right?
That's right. Yeah. One here. No big deal.
Yeah.
I'm in Tennessee, which is why
Tennessee's
Texas
free.
has the freedom. Tennessee is the reason Texas has the freedom that they have.
Volunteers.
You're welcome.
Volunteers.
You're welcome. We volunteered.
The volunteers.
Well, yeah, that's right. Go Big Orange, right?
No,
you can't go to East Tennessee and not see Orange.
Austin P.
Roll Austin P. There you go. That's what we're going to do.
Ron, get back to the nonprofit. Like you said, we have had nonprofits get very sizable donations from an angel investor, right? On this page. So again, how close are you? What's it gonna take? And what are, like, again, because when we do talk about money, and I do this a lot when I do my suicide training, is eventually it comes down to money, right? And it's like, who's going to pay for this to do this, right? Somebody has to. Somebody has to pay for this, right? And what budget are we going to take it out of? So what exactly, like, how close are you to a ranch? And is there like a breakdown on the website or somewhere where it says, hey, we need $450,000 to start because this is what this 450 is going to do? I'm just like throwing out. Is there anything like that in the books already?
Well, the business plan's online on our website, and it's got basically the first 3 years with a build, and the first 3 years if we don't have to build the ranch, and it like comes with, build hard stands on site, hard buildings on site. We do have an idea for the barn. We want to put somewhat of a old World War II barrack style housing up there for our nonprofits that come in to work with us, and then give them office and internet space up there so they can work while they're there as well. When they come in to work with us, and they can stay in the barn and actually be there with us. And then, like I said, they're only going to be there for a certain amount of time. We're looking for about 40 acres. The first 3 years plus a build, we're looking at $4.5 million.
Okay. Wow.
That's why I said we're looking at God level money for that. But if now that can change. Now, if there's land with like a well on it or land, buildings on it,
changes everything. Yeah.
All these factors come into play. Everybody wants to throw horses at us. No, we don't need horses. We're not, we explain that we're going to do that, but we're going to, the program overall is going to be called camouflage. And let me explain this to you real quick, because we all wear camouflage. Every single one of us, we still wear camouflage. When we walk out the door, we wear camouflage. We've gotten very good at the application of camouflage. We need to get good at peeling it off and dealing with what's underneath, because it's killing us, and it's killing our people, and it's killing our family. And I've got 23 million brothers and sisters down to 21 million now over the last 5 years. And I'm not cool with that. Right. And it's every time somebody comes to me and they call me in tears, and they're like, Ron, my husband is balled up in the bathtub, naked, drunk, thinking he's in a firefight right now. Can you come talk to him? Where's the ranch? And I'm like, oh my God, I just get so frustrated. I'm like, God, where is the ranch? I mean, when are we going to get this thing? When are we able to put this thing together? Because my people are bleeding now. They're hurting right now. And every day it's it's 22 more. And we all know that number's BS. You know, the real number is probably something closer to 50 or 60. And nobody wants to talk about that, but that's reality too. And if it was any other demographic in the country that was killing themselves at 8 to 10,000 in a year, we would be up in arms about it. You know what I mean? That's just fair point.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, great. Look, can you give us the website before we turn it over to Buddy? And for the AAR, can you give us like a website or whether people can read about the mission, what your thought process is, and all that kind of stuff?
The website for Warfighter Ranch is www.warfighterranch.org. Warfighterranch.org, all one word. And then you can catch us at Warfighter Ranch or at Isaiah 68 Actual on all platforms. And that at Isaiah 68 Actual YouTube channel, we have over 860 videos. My grandbabies can watch every single one of those because we made sure they're family friendly for the warfighter community. There's plenty of trash. They can see it anywhere they want, but if they want something clean, they can come see us. And it's all veteran and first responder related, every last bit of it.
Very nice. Yeah, it sounds like a fantastic idea. And I think you get it, into motion, and start helping people. I think it's gonna be a pretty solid thing. I think so. Sure.
We're gonna be able to do about 32 at a time, so it'll be about a platoon size element of people at a time, whether it's males or females. And then and the other reason I said, besides in the church, you definitely put a distinction. You separate males from females, obviously, always, for reasons of propriety. But also in the military, over the last 20 years, we've had this. I'm sure it's always been around to some degree, but all of a sudden, military sexual trauma seems to be like measles, just ripping through the ranks like a wildfire. And does a 20-year war have something to do with that? Probably. Does fatherlessness have something to do with that? Probably.
It's a big system.
We can go all day on that, but it's something that we have to consider as well. So we're considering our males and our females and our families especially.
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Buddy, take it away.
Yeah. So the AAR, first of all, we talked about the Tucker Carlson interview, and here's the takeaway from that. Don't be afraid of the truth. Or don't be afraid of hearing both sides of a story and trying to figure out where the truth lies. Because the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. We're probably not squeaky clean. Russia's definitely not squeaky clean. But somewhere in the middle is the logical reason why things happen. And very few things happen because super innocent people just happen to make some mistakes. So anyway, watch the interview, see the points that he makes. Don't take anything as 100%, and then do a little bit of do your own research, as they say. Google some things, look at some history books, and figure out what's true and what's not true, and then make your opinion.
Before the solar flares get here, do it before the solar flares get here.
And you better order your Encyclopedia Britannicas now, because you're gonna want to have something to read by your cat oil lamp when the solar flares come.
Unless you have a 4-Patriot generator.
Enough to get yourself a 4-Patriot generator. The other question is, if the solar flare hits, will the generator work?
Extra good because it's got solar panels. I don't know. Is that how that works?
It does. Free solar panels.
It does.
It sucks in the extra solar. Yeah, that's it.
You get, maybe that's what we do. We just get everybody to buy solar.
You won't be able to Google. I think the internet will be down.
If the solar flare goes off,
trust the science.
But if it all in.
How do we know there's a solar flare?
Yeah, and then last but not least, we had Chaplain Ron Breland on. It was has been in he's like kind of like Forrest Gump. You've done everything. You've been in all the wars. Was a firefighter, drove trucks, was in Somalia, and was in Kosovo and Afghanistan, Iraq. Been in all the wars. You're basically like Lieutenant Dan. But
not Afghanistan, but Iraq. That wasn't Ramadi. Yeah.
Except for you got all your legs, so you just been in all the wars.
Maybe that we're guessing. That's an assumption.
Yeah. But anyway, so check out www.warfighterranch.org. If you've got, there's some people on here that have said they got some acreage, or you feel the need to go there and help Ron in his journey to get this ranch put together, then give him a call. And all of it is for we've all got different techniques to take care of the same basic problem, and that is building a better foundation to get people through the mental fatigue and mental stress that they've had to go through in the years, whether they're military or first responders or the spouses of those people. And Ron would like to use the system to help. And of course, the people are going to get on. They're going to watch this video, and they're going to see that there's a very faith-based Christian focus for Ron's. And you know what? If that system doesn't work for you, find another one, or keep doing the same thing that isn't working for you, and go that route. If it does work for you, then check it out. And there are a lot of ways to skin a cat, but you have to you've got to try it. You've got to try a couple until you figure out how to get it skinned. If you're just sitting there with a hairy cat, maybe not bitch about how other people are skinning theirs, and figure out how to skin your own. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was a weird analogy. Just came.
It works though. It works though.
It works though. For
that's so SF, man.
Any slang that might be used in the future. My bad. Anyway, but you can also check us out, Dave. Where can they check us out?
Oh, go for it, buddy. You're on a roll.
Spotify and Facebook and X marks the spot and all those other things. Also,
VeteranTrashTalk.com. Yep.
VeteranTrashTalk.com. Duh, everybody knows that.
No S. Veteran. Veteran Trash Talk.
Veteran, buddy, not veterans. Veteran.
Yeah, I just I'm from
You're part of the company, buddy.
I have a lisp, guys. It's not my fault. I have a lisp. So check those out, and then also there's going to be a flyer that pops up on the beginning and the end of the show with.
You're going to talk about that?
Yeah. With Jimmy Bates Foundation is having a raffle for some pretty cool prizes. $20 for a ticket. The drawing is happening here in the next month or so. So get your money in. Try to win one of those guns with the cool thermal sights on it. That way, if you go hunting hogs when the solar flares come, you don't want to eat something. You don't want to be part of the 90% of Americans that are doomed to death
blackout
because of the solar flares. Might want to get yourself a gun and shoot yourself some pigs. Just saying.
Go get a bow.
That's it. There you go.
Take it away, Dave.
Great show. I think Buddy covered it all.
Hey, real quick, guys. One more thing.
Everybody that's watching right now, go to YouTube, subscribe, and give us a like so we can get pushed through these damn algorithms.
And then do that QR code.
We're probably at the very bottom after today, yeah. And then check out the QR code. I don't see the QR code. Oh, yeah, it's in your corner right there, right? Yeah.
Hey guys, shoot me your address. Shoot me a message with your addresses, and I got a little gift from the ministry to send to you guys.
Oh, awesome! Nice. Thanks, Ron. Yeah, I'll do that.
Sweet.
I'll get you all of them.
Ron, any final words?
We're praying for every single one of you guys. If you need me, you know where to find me. I'm not hard to find. And, we're pretty good at fighting demons. We really are.
Love it.
We're pretty good at this stuff.
Thanks, Ron. Yeah, thanks for sharing your story and what you guys are trying to do. Awesome.
Yeah. We'll catch you guys next Saturday.
Guys, man. Every last one of you.
This is a food warning. The UN warns of an unprecedented global hunger crisis. In fact, it's predicted by 2030 that 800 million folks will struggle to feed their families, which means two dangerous things for you. Number one, higher prices at the grocery store. Number two, less food available. And when panic strikes, it will be chaos. making it even harder to get the food your family needs to survive. That's why it's vital, more than ever, to have a survival food stockpile. Introducing the deluxe 3-month survival food kit from 4 Patriots. It has 688 servings of meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with delicious recipes like pancakes, mac and cheese, Aztec chili, and potato soup. They've even got spaghetti and lasagna. This isn't your typical survival food, and over 200,000 smart Americans agree. This is survival food that actually tastes good. But best of all, it's designed to last up to 25 years. You can stash it away and be confident that when a disaster strikes, you and your family will be ready. Go to 4patriots.com/VTT to get the deluxe 3-month survival food kit and the